One of the most highly suppressed technologies is related to anti-gravity propulsion. This highly guarded secret has been associated with one of the major goals of reverse engineering of alien craft that have been recovered. So we're gonna see what we can find and exactly why they don't want us to know about this quantum-related revelation. I want to thank Litsievich for directing me into this exploration. I'm sure there's much more to come out on this subject. So let's take a look what happens under our noses while we are busy trying to exist. In the heart of Alabama lies a city unlike any other, Huntsville, known as the propulsion capital of the world. Coincidentally, this is where President Trump has chosen to move Space Command and Space Force. Redstone Arsenal is famous for its classified projects where generations of engineers have built the rockets that carried humanity to the moon and beyond. It's a place of immense innovation. It is the epicenter of propulsion research in America. But according to those who worked deepest within its walls, Huntsville is also a graveyard for breakthroughs, especially the ones that threaten to upend everything we know about energy, gravity, and power itself. Energy manipulation is the secret that they will never voluntarily reveal. Amy Eskridge was born right here in this propulsion capital on September 19, 1987. Her father, Richard Eskridge, served as the technical lead of NASA's Advanced Propulsion Lab at Marshall. Growing up surrounded by the brightest minds in rocketry, Amy earned degrees in biology and chemistry, nearly completed a PhD in biotechnology, and then turned her focus to the most forbidden frontier, gravity modification and anti-gravity propulsion. She proudly called herself the Propulsion Princess, a title that reflected both her heritage and her determination to carry the torch into territories others feared to tread. In her own words, from public interviews and presentations, Amy revealed a pattern that has repeated for decades. Anti-gravity technology has been independently discovered multiple times, by Nikola Tesla, by Eugene Podkletnov, with his rotating superconductor experiments that produced measurable weight reduction, by Ken Wheeler, by Townsend Brown and his electrogravitics work, and even by her own father. Yet every single time the discovery is met with the same fate: suppression. Amy described how inside institutions like NASA and the military contractors clustered around Huntsville, promising prototypes of advanced propulsion systems are built and tested. These devices, she said, work exactly as expected the first time. Engineers witness results that should change the world overnight. But then the funding is abruptly cut. The projects are cancelled, the hardware is auctioned off in pieces and scrapped for scrap metal. Nothing remains in the public record, no follow-up, no advancement, just silence. She pointed directly to the 1973 Mansfield Amendment as one of the mechanisms that made such abrupt cover-ups possible. The law prohibited the military from funding research without direct military application. It's always some loophole left for them to manipulate. Overnight, open exploration of gravity modification and exotic propulsion became effectively illegal to pursue with government money. "We could be crazy far by now," Amy said in one interview. "We could be on the moons of Jupiter right now if we had spent our money differently." How do you feel about that? Are you good with the government suppressing exotic technology that could greatly advance our spacefaring capability? Watch on. The suppression, according to Amy, goes far beyond budget rules. She spoke of the NSA monitoring independent researchers who stumble onto these principles. She described two opposing factions within government, one determined to keep these technologies buried to preserve existing power structures, the other advocating only the slowest, most controlled disclosure possible. She was right. One more expert validation, One more reveal of the struggle between a white and a dark faction. Amy warned that Huntsville itself functions as an idea factory for black-budget programs, where brilliant scientists are subjected to psychological pressure to generate concepts that vanish into classified vaults. Whispers of even deeper secrets have long circulated around Redstone Arsenal, fueling the suppression narrative Amy fought against. If Amy is correct, and they're using scientists to discover things only to suppress them, that looks like compartmentalization to me, where the scientists that discover them think their discovery has been suppressed. But in reality, it's being developed in various places around or perhaps off the planet. You don't work to discover something to put it away and do nothing. It's only logical. As far back as the early 1990s, UFO publications and conspiracy researchers claimed the existence of joint alien military underground facilities at Redstone, where extraterrestrials collaborate with humans on advanced technologies. More recent accounts, including viral videos and podcasts, describe Huntsville as hiding an underground alien base or spaceport used by Nordic-like extraterrestrials. While Amy herself never spoke about the Nordics, she spoke of ultra-terrestrials rather than extraterrestrials. She believed that these are future humans from post-apocalyptic timelines that have survived underground. That sounds like a whole other investigation, but the whole post-apocalyptic narrative is not something that I endorse. Regardless, the rumors underscore the most certain veil of secrecy that surrounds exotic technologies and which Amy sought to uncover. Many, including myself, believe that Redstone is not just a propulsion hub, but a nexus where otherworldly beings are actually working with scientists from around the world on these suppressed technologies, currently being guarded by alternate forces that are protecting the innovation. Amy founded the Institute of Exotic Science right in Huntsville with one explicit purpose: to publicly disclose gravity modification research as a form of protection. In her own words, to disclose anti-gravity for protection from being murdered. She explained that bringing the work into the open was the only shield against the threats that come to those who pursue it in secret. She reported years of escalating harassment, sabotage of her academic career, surveillance, break-ins, being drugged without consent, and direct threats. In recorded statements, she recounted overhearing messages like, "Didn't we tell this bitch we kill people 3 years ago? Is she not listening?" Despite the intimidation, Amy continued speaking out. She described a deeper reality tied to these suppressed technologies. Specifically, Amy spoke of energy-to-matter conversions, capable of opening portals. These conversion equations were derived by her and her team, related to what she called the sixth force of nature, or anti-gravity, and she coined her father's work on neutron rays as gravity chemistry. I might have to look into gravity chemistry and find out what exactly her dad's work was about. Amy insisted that her knowledge came not from speculation about extraterrestrials, but from direct experience, and she's not the only one. So many of us have had experiences with or memories of extraterrestrials now. Here we are years later in 2026, and the grip of control over Huntsville's secrets has only tightened. Just months ago, in September 2025, President Trump announced the permanent relocation of U.S. Space Command headquarters to Redstone Arsenal, the very heart of this propulsion capital. Reversing a prior administration's decision, this move brings over 1,400 high-level jobs and consolidates our military space operations alongside NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center and the Army's Missile Defense Commands. Officially, we were told that the consolidation is a boost for national security and economic growth. I mean, really, I didn't feel comfortable having these high-level operations at NORAD, so close to the demonic Denver airport. But we can't ignore this steps toward centralization and streamlining, which seems to be a theme in the Trump administration. In my opinion, moving everything to Huntsville is a step toward greater oversight of exotic propulsion research, while simultaneously controlling access by deep state actors who have been trying to suppress the technology for decades. This is a way to ensure that any breakthroughs in gravity modification or advanced space technologies remain firmly under classified lock and key, far from evil minds. You might think that's a bit dramatic, but on June 11, 2022, at the age of 34, Amy Eskridge was found dead in her Huntsville home from a gunshot wound. Like others before her, the official ruling was suicide, with no further investigation. Yet, for those who listened to her warnings, the timing and circumstances raise profound questions about what we are dealing with. A brilliant young scientist, raised in the very heart of the propulsion capital, dedicating her life to ending the cycle of suppression, and she was silenced just as she was pushing hardest for public disclosure. The pattern she described throughout her work was discover, demonstrate, suppress, erase, and it seems that the machine has claimed another victim. The propulsion capital of the world continues its official work on chemical rockets and ion thrusters, now fortified with the full weight of U.S. Space Command on Redstone Arsenal. Billions flow into incremental improvements that we're allowed to see. But the breakthroughs Amy Eskridge and others fought to reveal are the ones that could free humanity from fossil fuels, from gravity's chains, from scarcity itself, and for now, they remain buried, but there is hope with the moves that President Trump has been making. The suppression she documented in her own voice continues unbroken, and perhaps now more entrenched than ever. Her story stands as a warning and a call. As long as the most transformative propulsion technologies are treated as threats to be contained rather than gifts to be shared, the true potential of the propulsion capital and of humanity will remain locked away. Amy Eskridge, the propulsion princess, gave everything to change that. The question left behind is whether the people will ever awaken to what is really going on behind the scenes.